Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Wine Wednesday. I am joined here by Laura, Neversometimes.
Yes.
Actually,
how did... Always.
Neversometimes always?
Yeah.
I like that. Now you have to change your... Wait, is that your middle name and now your last name?
No, so I just didn't want people knowing my real last name. As long as I have to have a real job, I don't want my real life.
Does that mean people at your own job don't know about your alternative?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
My older sister could probably work for the FBI or CIA or whatever, and so I was like, here are the people I work with, find all of their social media channels, and then I just block them on everything, because just in case.
Oh my god.
Not that I'm doing anything weird, but it just still makes me nervous.
Now you all have to follow her on all her channels to see what is so secretive.
Super secretive.
Anyway, so today we are drinking Martinelli Sparkling Cider. I have my second sober guest here.
Yes.
So, cheers to the sober life.
Yay!
Why are you sober? Is it...
It's really not that interesting a story.
Is it health reasons? I know.
So, well, it sort of goes into the whole weight loss,
yeah,
that whole thing. So I used to just drink like a normal person. I've only not been drinking since Halloween of last year.
So it's been a little over a year?
Yeah. And before that, it was super intermittently, and that was because for some reason, after I lost a bunch of weight, every time I drank alcohol, I would get severe stomach pains to the point where I'm bent over,
really?
Horrible. And I would be okay, well, I'll try beer. No, maybe I'll try wine. That won't do it. How about actual booze? But sometimes I would be able to get away with it, but more often than not, even just a little bit, this much wine would fucking kill me.
Really? And it was stomach issues. Yeah, you're fine. No, you're totally good.
Yeah, and it was just horrible. I wouldn't throw up. I wouldn't but it would just be I had to be in the fetal position on the floor.
Well, I kid you not. The whole reason I drink so much wine was because I'm a big whiskey drinker too.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. Let me start. Beer. This is where we all start.
Right.
And then I just kept feeling really bloated and gross and bread is in my stomach and I'm a very naturally skinny or thin dude. And I remember going up to Flagstaff with my buddy and we just went on this beer and burger spree in Flagstaff because they got so many breweries and stuff up there.
No part of that sounds terrible at all.
No, it was great, but I could literally see it looked like
you look
pregnant. One of those impoverished children who was just completely skinny, but then their bellies are popped out.
Oh my God.
I had that going on.
Okay.
And I was like, this isn't okay. And then I have stomach issues and disorders too. So, and I was a big whiskey drinker later on. But then I would get a lot of bleeding and stuff in my stomach, and so then I started switching to wine. Yeah, switched to wine. Is a lot softer, but I still have ongoing stomach issues. So
yeah,
I try to be careful with my alcohol consumption.
Yeah, smart.
Yeah, no, so I'm with you on that. It's not the best of habits.
Right.
Even though I have a podcast dedicated to alcohol consumption.
Once a week. Well, that's the thing too. Is the hardest thing for me, and this is so dumb. But I remember being how am I gonna go to emo night sober?
Oh my God, they pay you in alcohol.
And I remember when I would DJ, Steve would give me a bunch of
Oh,
drink tokens, and it's just or people would offer to buy you drinks, and
all
I'm
night.
is it
All
rude
night.
to
Play my song, here's the
turn
beer.
that down? Or I had such I was so fucking worried about it. And I remember one of the most fun nights ever was Warp Tour, whenever the Warp Tour.
Was it this year or last year?
Not the one that just happened. I think it was last year.
Yeah, I heard about that one. That one's legendary.
It was insane. And that was probably the most drunk I had been, in so long.
That's because it was the Warp Tour. Anyone doesn't know the year before why it was a legendary night. It was because they had their break the next
they had
day.
a day off. Yeah.
And they only get a day off not very often. So when they do, all the Warp Tour rock stars, they just go ham. So they came into Rebel as it being it was a home for the Warp Tour guys. And
it was so fun.
Yeah.
I think
I think from what I remember.
I remember getting real sick, but it was so fun. And then I decided to stop drinking shortly after that. And the next emo night, I was well, it's not going to be fun anymore because
Yeah.
Like, whatever. And
especially, like I said, when I was DJing, they didn't pay anything, which is fine. Like, it's just a fun night to end. Like, literally the DJing is me playing a Spotify playlist, so it's not like a big deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, they just like shuffle these shots the entire night, or like beer. Like literally everyone was buying these stuff.
It feels rude to be like, I'm cool, but like now I end up giving like my tokens to.
Yeah, well, I started doing that on the stage. People give me so many drinks that I'd like find like random dudes who like were like crushing their beer. It was like, yo, dude, how do you take it? You just take it.
It is a weird like social thing though, because like I didn't even really want to drink. I just felt like I had to like conform to this expectation that like this is how you celebrate this night or whatever.
And honestly, and that's where I feel like drinking and culture really is like the crossing point. Like, I don't view drinking, the act of itself being this super exhilarating thing. Right. It's just like, one, alcohol makes you more conversational and helps break down some barriers, but then two, it's like, it's just some kind of experience that two people can have together that's not, you know, obviously, we can't all go out to movies and talk, or what, even at shows, it's like, you can only talk between sets, so like, drinking is just a great way to communicate and be in.
Well, and people get really fucking weird when you tell them you don't drink. I think.
Really?
Oh my gosh! Like
this might be a woman thing, to be honest.
Well, okay, so I've been on Tinder a time or two in my life, and I would straight up just be like, because guys are always like, "Let's go for a drink. Let's go for a drink." I'd be like, I don't drink, but like I'm still cool to do that, and like you can drink and I cannot do that.
Yeah.
And like,
and were they weird about it?
Some of them were straight up like, well, like, I don't think we should hang, or they just wouldn't respond after that, after like 89 messages about like, you're so hot, whatever, and then it's like, I don't drink, and they're like,
you know, that's kind of weirds me out.
It's super weird, because it's like, why do you need me to be drunk? Like, that's sketchy to me.
Yeah, it makes me think that, okay, my only solution, I mean, I hate to go straight to the negative and dark of it, but it feels like the logic behind it is, well, a girl won't sleep with me unless they're intoxicated or whatever.
Where it's like, that says way more about you, bro, than like anything else.
Oh,
but
that's kind of dark.
Yeah, I mean, but there were a bunch of guys that were like, oh, well, we can like do literally anything else, and I'm like, oh, that's chill. But like, there were a large amount of them that were like,
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that.
But now I just, like, literally give no fucks. Like, I'm just like, I don't drink. And like you said, like, Danielle told you, like, it's common knowledge now, I think, for the most part.
That, oh, yeah, like, I'm glad she told me such a go out. Because actually, I don't know if you saw it, but...
I thought it was going to be Water Wednesday. Like, I totally came prepared.
I bought 2 bottles. And I got one thinking it was funny because it's called Skinny Girl. And I was like, oh, you know, weight loss. And then I didn't realize it was actually like a lesser calorie wine.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shoot, I hope that's not offensive. I didn't really think that.
Do you know what makes that whole product line? What makes it less calorie is it's just watered down. It's got a lower percentage of alcohol.
Well, that's what I was wondering. I was like,
which is nonsense. Like you're paying the same amount. If you want to drink, just drink. Like don't drink watered down shit. Like that's weird.
That's good to know. So now I got a bottle of watered down wine in my kitchen.
You're gonna have to drink 8 of them to like, feel anything.
So I'll just drink the entire bottle for nothing.
For breakfast.
But I want to definitely talk and hit about the weight loss transformation. How much weight was it again?
Well, I had lost about 125.
Okay.
And then I started lifting weights and like have gained since I started.
Oh, from the muscle mass, presumably.
From the muscle mass and like Sour Patch Kids, but you know.
So 125 is.
Yeah. So I'm working to get back down, but it's hard when you're like lifting because your body changes. Like my measurements are smaller, but the scale doesn't really move that much, which fucks with your head so hard.
Right, because your goal has always been weight, number.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's synonymous, I feel like, with health. Like people are like, oh, how much do you weigh? Like, if my boyfriend is watching this, he's gonna laugh. But like, the number one question I get asked is, how tall am I? Because I'll post like before and after
they
pictures.
Want your BMI?
Well, they want to know if they're going to look, I think, if they're going to look like how I look when they weigh whatever I weigh. So,
interesting.
They're like, oh, you must be like 5'9" or whatever. And I'm like, nope, I'm 5'5". And they're like, I weigh as much as you and I look so much bigger. I wear a different pant size or whatever. And it's like, okay, well, one, all bodies are fucking different. So, like, that's a thing. But also, like, I lift weights 5 days a week. So like it's just a different goal structure. Like
Right.
I looked bigger when I weighed less when I was just doing cardio.
Yeah.
So
now instead of thinking of the numbers of losing the weight, you're more or less thinking, okay, well, how can I increase my reps or
yeah,
increase
like I just want to. I love it now because I just signed up for like a real gym.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've had a gym at work and a gym at my condo for the last 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
and I moved from my condo, so I don't have access to the one at home anymore. So I was like, maybe it's time. I'm saving a whole bunch of money in rent by now living with roommates, so I'll bite the bullet and sign up for like a real gym. And I like am lifting more than some dudes that are there. And I'm
Really?
just like,
Oh, that's awesome.
yes.
And that's why I don't go to gyms, because I would be super intimidated.
Well, I convince myself that everyone there that is doing stuff that I feel like is probably a waste of their time, I'm like, well, maybe they're like rehabbing or something, like, you know, because like after I had surgery, like I would walk on the treadmill at like 1.5 miles an hour just to move, but like I couldn't actually do anything else.
Right.
So I just convinced myself that like, you know, they're doing the best they can.
Yeah, well, and that's usually, because I used to go, when I went to U of A, and we have an amazing gym down at U of A, but everyone there is like Greek life, and like the Greek life there, like in order to be in these fraternities and sororities, they actually have like a signed contract to work out.
What?
Yeah, like you have to look a certain way, like there's a high expectation on the way you look, which makes U of A beautiful. Everyone is good looking. Like I'm a solid like 2 at the U of A. Whereas in the average world, I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty good.
Yeah, you're like, I'm pretty good.
Yeah, but then like I go to U of A, I'm like, wow, I am below average.
Weird.
Just because everyone works out, everyone takes really good care of themselves, and they're all from California, and so they're rich.
Jeez.
But yeah, I'd always get really self-conscious at the gym, being like the skinny guy. I'm like, man, I'm trying to work up, but man, these guys are massive.
Well, and there's so many dudes that like that is their problem. Like their metabolism is crazy, and they can't keep on weight. Like my boyfriend eats more than like a normal human should eat, and he's just like constantly either like losing weight or like trying to bulk up or like whatever. And it's like I feel like everyone has their own set of challenges or whatever. Like it's not always just about weight loss or getting smaller. It's, you know, the other side of the coin
for sure. Yeah, I mean, for me, it wasn't even until like the last year or two my metabolism has finally like started to slow down enough that I can feel like, okay, now I can gain weight and like actually working out is doing something for me. Yeah. Because when I was younger, you know, I was a big athlete in high school and stuff like that, and I would work out every single day with soccer and whatnot, but my metabolism was so much that I would literally just eat peanut butter trying to gain weight, like jars of it.
Jeez.
And I just couldn't for the life of me. My energy would just burn it so fast.
Yeah.
But anyways, get back to your story. Let's just start from the very beginning. What was the turning point that was like, okay, now I know I have to like try and lose weight, or like was there like a moment?
Well, there's kind of like 2 parts to this. So, I was married once.
I did not know that.
No, not anymore. But when I was in that relationship, I was with him for 7 years.
Oh, wow.
And he was very good at being like, you're so beautiful, you're so great, whatever. Mm-hmm. But he also, I feel like, had a fetish for larger women.
Huh.
Because I would try to lose weight, you know, in various ways, and he would say things like, oh, just don't get too small. You know, like, haha, don't lose too much. Yeah. But, like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, if I do lose it, is he not going to find me attractive anymore? Yeah. Like, and, like, no, I don't want to blame that as, like, the reason I wasn't able to lose at that time, but it definitely, like, played a part.
So he wasn't, like, super encouraging or supportive?
No, absolutely not. I'd always be like, let's have pizza, and I'm like, dude, I just ate half a grapefruit. Like, let me live.
You know what I could also, not to, like, you obviously know his psychology way more than I could ever, but I know a lot of people have this thing where when their significant other is working out, it makes them feel self-conscious about their own body and their own mentality, and if they don't want to work out and put in that kind of work, then they don't want their significant other to, because it kind of makes them feel guilty.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
I know that's a big trap that a lot of people fall into.
Yeah. Well, like, and I know a lot of couples now, too, that are like, we're both going to join a gym, or we're both going to do this one diet, or like, whatever, because it's easier for both of them
I honestly think that's one of the best ways to do it, because I've noticed I've had so many friends that will get in relationships and it's like they hit this wall of complacency. It's like when they were single, they're like them and their girlfriend or whatever, they're both like super hot, like working out all the time, like making themselves look super good, and then like they eat Taco Bell every day of their life and just like watch way too much Netflix together and like
it's like there's only so many date things you can do before you're, just chilling watching TV.
Yeah, which is fine. Don't get me wrong. Like we all watch way more TV than we should, and I don't think anyone ever admits it. But I watch way too much TV.
Yeah.
But I know that I can quickly fall into the trap of complacency.
Yeah.
And I think relationships, for me, that was never really an issue. I never let my relationships or anything like that ever dictate my ambitions.
Yeah.
I'm just like I'm not like a type A kind of guy. I'm just someone who, if I'm not progressively doing something in my life, I get really depressed or whatever.
Yeah.
So for me, I know I was never going to let someone like, oh, don't work out or don't, write that song tonight. Yeah, come be on the couch with me. I'll be like, get out of my life.
Yeah.
Instantly. But a lot of other people aren't like that. They like that comfort, that creature comfort. So I could see that being an issue.
Well, and it's like, it's so funny because now I'm like I won't wait for anyone. Like Valerie has like wanted to work out and I have to do it like at a certain time every day or I'm not going to want to do it.
Yeah, like get your
ass up. And it's like, oh, if I have to wait, like I went to her house once and she like had just gotten out of bed. It was like 2:30. And I was like, come on, let's go. Like, I need to do this. So I like do a lot of stuff myself. Like I'll go hike by myself. Like I went on like a 5-mile hike yesterday.
Oh wow. Where'd you go? Camelback?
South Mountain.
South Mountain?
Yeah.
Cool.
But anyways, back to where it started.
Yeah, so you said there's two major turning points.
So at a certain point in like 2008, I weighed 291. And I started to panic and I was like, I'm never going to lose weight. Like, I don't know what to do. So I went to have a consultation for lap band surgery. And the whole thing, like, I definitely didn't do enough research. So that's on me. But, like, I went for a consultation and I was scheduled for surgery, like, 4 days later.
Oh, wow.
Like, they didn't require any type of, like, blood tests or sleep studies or, like, anything like that.
Wow.
Which I should have been like, this is fucked up. But at the time, I was like, hell yeah, I can do it so soon and start losing weight, like, immediately. So...
Can you explain the surgery a little bit?
So basically, there's, like, a port thing that's connected to... These are going to be all the wrong words. But it's, like, connected to, like, a tube that has an opening that closes around the top of your stomach. Okay. And inside the opening, there's like kind of like a balloon type material that's filled with saline, which makes the opening smaller. Okay. So over time, the saline, however, it like leaks out into your body. So every 6 weeks you go and they refill it up with saline to like close off the top. What that does is it takes food longer to get to your stomach, so you feel fuller faster with a smaller amount of food. And that's the idea behind being able to lose weight.
Okay. I'm with you.
So I got that done in 2008. Lost. My goal was like 250, or to be under 250, and I think I got down to like 251, and like could not fucking, for the life of me, like get below that.
Okay.
And then I started having complications, where I was just like having extreme pain, like where the port and stuff was, and I could feel it like kind of raised up underneath my skin, and wasn't able to keep food down, so I was eating all kinds of stuff you're not supposed to eat, like pudding, yogurt, ice cream, soft, like smoothies, so that it could go down without pain. So I like gained a little bit of weight back, not a ton, but I was like basically fighting with my doctor, and I'm like crying every day because like it's killing me. And he keeps wanting to do all these tests, and then he basically like won't take it out because that contributes to like the failure rate of the product. And so he's like making me do all these nonsense tests.
This sounds really sketchy.
Sketch, right? So I ended up going to a different doctor at Scottsdale Healthcare, actually.
Okay.
And I went for a consultation, and the previous doctor had told me that he removed all of the saline so that, like, I should have, like, a normal stomach. Like, it should just Like, basically, there's just an accessory in there, but it's not actually doing anything. I was like, okay. So I went to Scottsdale Healthcare, and they removed, like, 6.5 cc's of saline. Which, I don't know how much that is. It's probably, like, a couple fucking drops. But it sounds like a lot. It's more than 0. So, like, to me, I was like, this guy doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
Yeah. Well, it just sounds like they're pumping your stomach full of saline. And...
So they took that out, and then in order to get it out, I had to do, like, a sleep study to make sure I didn't have sleep apnea. I had to do all this blood work. I had to, like, see a psychologist, like all this stuff to get it removed. I finally got it removed in, like, 2011, probably.
Okay.
And when I got it removed, the doctor was like, well, while we're in there taking it out, do you just want to do gastric bypass? Like, because it's like one surgery, kind of, you know.
That's where they remove, like, a portion of your intestines?
Yeah. And I had such a bad experience that I was like, fuck that
no
shit.
More surgery.
I just want, like, a normal body for, like, a minute. And it's funny because I still have, like, some residual weird things. Like, when I burp, I, like, have to lean to the side. Like, I'm, like, squishing it out somehow. It's super fucking weird. So, like, yeah, subconsciously, I'm just like, like, when I have to burp, it's so weird.
That's funny.
But I got that out in 2011. Ended up, like, gaining all of the weight back over, the next couple of years or whatever. And so I got divorced in January of 2014.
Okay.
And...
It wasn't too long ago.
Nah. Sold my house, moved back in with my parents while I, like, looked for another place to live. My parents live super fucking far away from, like, all of my friends, shows, like, every social thing. And I literally was just like, I'm fucking bored. I'm gonna try to lose weight again, because, like, I literally don't have anything else to do. Like, I went to work, came home, and was like, I'm just sitting here waiting till tomorrow until I go to work again. So I started going to the gym and, like, counting calories and all that stuff. And it started to come off, and I was like, what the fuck? Who actually knew that watching what you eat and exercising fucking works? Not me. And
so you kind of just were just hanging out one day, like, oh, I'm just gonna give it a shot.
Yeah, it was like
you never thought about that before the surgeries that you did?
Well, I had tried, but I never, like, really tried.
Yeah.
Like, I tried for a couple days.
So this is your first time, like, really going at it.
Yeah. And, like, I struggle, and, like, I hate to use this term because I don't want to offend people that have been, like, medically diagnosed as this, but I definitely suffer from, like, binge eating. Like, I'll just eat until I'm sick. And, like, I can't stop. Like,
is it, like, an emotional response, or is it, like, more of, like, a physical need?
I don't think so. I think it's just completely, like, I'm one of 5 kids, and, like, when my parents would order pizza when we were kids, it was like you had to eat as fast as you could to get another piece, otherwise it wouldn't be there because there just, like, wasn't enough for everyone to have, like...
Interesting.
Yeah,
I've heard of that.
Yeah. Too. And I don't know, so, like, that's why it's like I cannot have stuff in my house. Like, I can't buy Sour Patch Kids, or I will eat them till I'm sick, and then I'm like, well, I just need to eat some more so that they're gone. And then, like, I'll go through this whole cycle, like, every couple of weeks or whatever.
Similar little, like, side tangent is, so when I was in college, I was beyond broke, to the point that, like, because I was trying to pay for my band while trying to, you know, go through school, and so all my money that whatever money I had was in my band. And I paid off an album, and I had about a month or two before, like, another check would come in. And so I had about a month, and I had no money whatsoever to my name. And so I'd just go to, like, churches, like, and eat all the, like, the food in churches and take some home with me. Or I remember just eating pretty much just peanut butter and ramen was pretty much, like, the only 2 things I could eat.
Right.
And I did that for about a month. And periodically throughout the year, I was also just, like, not eating healthy at all. Like, I lost a ton of weight because I was like, literally malnourished. And taking a bunch of amphetamines trying to get through school.
Yeah.
With, like, Ritalin and stuff. So I was just, like, ridiculously malnourished at the end of the year. And then when I would come home to eat or anything like that, I had, like, a friend was watching me eat, and he's like, my friend used to work for, like, organizations and ministries that did third world type outreach, he said I would eat like the inner city kids, or I'd eat like a third world kid, because when they get food, they just like, they eat it really, really quickly.
Because you don't know how long it's going to be there, or like when the next one's going to be, or
So he talked about how like, he's like, I'm like the only people I've seen, because like most normal people aren't like scarfing down their food. And I don't think I still eat like that. Maybe I do, I'm not sure, but I know like he considered me like an abnormally, unusually fast eater, and I think it was because I had a year of my life where I just didn't eat pretty much at all. But anyways, getting back to your story, so that's how you got started. How did you keep going and persevering? Like, what made it work this time that it didn't?
One, I think I was in this like unusual, isolated situation because I lived with my parents for like 11 months, and I lost, I think, 60 pounds in that time.
Wow, yeah.
And when I, moved into my own condo, I was just like, well, I can keep going. Like, there's no reason to like stop that. And I mean, it's, gone up and down. Like, it's definitely not been like linear. But yeah, it's so weird because it's like I can't imagine like not going to the gym or like counting calories or whatever. Like, I can't imagine what was I doing before? Like, I don't even know. Like, I can't remember.
Well, so now it's like ingrained in your lifestyle. It's more of like a routine.
Well, and it's so weird to see some of those like Facebook things that are like on this day or whatever, and like posts that I had made years ago, and it's like, I just made a cheesecake and I've got these cupcakes in the oven and like all this stuff, and it's like, wow, like I realized like I used to really, really love baking, like, and I was so good at it. Like, if it had butter and sugar in it, I was fucking great at cooking it. But the thing is I would make like a batch of cookies, and then over the next 2 or 3 days, I would eat 800 fucking cookies. Like,
oh my gosh.
So,
do you have like a dietary regimen that you follow now? Like, is it anything specific?
No.
Like veganism or anything?
So I never really like ate that much meat in general. Like, I just never like, it was fine, but I was never like one of those people that's
carnivorous.
Like, steak.
I had a Southern family, so we had steak. Every meal had to have the main course was always some kind of meat with some kind of side dish.
Yeah. Well, so in September of this year, I stopped. I was like, you know what? I don't really like meat that much, so I'm just gonna stop eating it.
Interesting.
And there was definitely like a 2-week period of like, I'm gonna die. Not like just like my body detoxing. No, just like not having like that animal something. I was like, I'm gonna die. Like, this is crazy. Everything is coming out of me, and it's not fun.
Well, I mean, I've had friends who are vegan or vegetarian and like eat a cheeseburger for the first time after a couple of years, and they get violently ill every time. And I'm like, what is it that our bodies are like? Is it good that we're not eating meat, and like, is it bad that our bodies adjust to eating meat?
I feel like this is a much bigger, like, we'd be opening a can of worms to dive into like vegetarianism, veganism, and like the ideas and like stuff behind that, but like, I mean, and I honestly like hate fucking labels. Like, I didn't want to tell people that like I'm a vegetarian, because then it's like, do I know that I'm never going to eat meat for the rest of my life? Absolutely not. Like, but I feel like once you throw a label on it, then people are like, oh, you can't do this, or you can't do that, or you should be doing this, or hey, you're a vegetarian, well, how about just cutting out all dairy products and like taking this one step and like doing that? And it's like, I've made the mistake of like watching way too many fucking documentaries on like
I've watched
food
some
industry,
of those,
and like
what can I eat now? What am I allowed to eat?
Lettuce, like that's it. But like organic lettuce, But I'm trying currently to kind of minimize dairy consumption, because like I have a big problem with eating ice cream. Like, that's a big problem, and I have it built into like my calories for the day, so that I can have some, because it's really the only thing that like, I'm like, I'm eating like granola and apples, and none of this is exciting, but at the end of the day, I get to have some ice cream, and that gets me through it or whatever.
No, that's good. I know a lot of people need that little psychological boost kind of incentive.
Which is kind of like fucked up when I think about it, because like my life is so driven by food. Like when I'm not eating it, or even when I am eating it, I'm like thinking about what I'm eating next and when I'm eating next. And like if I'm going somewhere that's outside of like my routine day, I'm like, well, what time? Like I normally eat at like the same times every day. And so I'm like, well, I'm going to be here at the time that I'm supposed to, like I'm supposed to go to happy hour tomorrow with one of my friends. Mm-hmm. And I usually eat dinner at 4:30 and then have like something light at like 7. I'm like, oh, we're going to happy hour at 5. So like that's going to be later. But then what do I do? Like I panic about it. And I'm just like, man, I almost wish I didn't fucking care. But I think for 30 years of my life, I didn't care. And like that didn't work out so well.
The kind of underlying secret to your success, I imagine, is the discipline and the routine of it.
Yeah.
And you've gotten to a point where it's an obsession, but I don't think it's a healthy obsession, but because you're taking into consideration things you're putting in your body and how to get your body in a better health and shape. But just like when it comes to like music or things like that, I see a lot of musicians that get burnt out and artists that get burnt out. I'm like, yeah, because you're looking at music like it's this sprint. Like, you're looking at your artwork like it's this sprint. I was like, it's not. It's a marathon. It's like
oh, man.
And I was like, and the only way to approach, like, being a great songwriter, being a continual person who's writing music and working on the business side of your band and things like that, is you just got to know every night, no matter what, you got to work on it.
Yeah.
And for me, that's what it is. I'm like, oh, it's 8 o'clock. I'm going to go sit down on my computer. I'm going to either write a song, I'm going to write a poem, or I'm going to send out business emails.
Yeah.
And it just depends. If I'm in a creative mood, then I'll start working on songs and poems. If I don't have that energy, then I'm okay. Well, then I'm gonna go write some promoters. I'm gonna go send some press out, or I'm gonna go schedule something. And like I do it every single night. And to me, like you'll see this big age gap musicians where it'll usually be like between the ages of like high school ages, like 16, 17, first getting the music scene. And they usually burn out around like around 21 to 23, and then it's really hard to find musicians around the age gap of like 23 to like maybe like 26 even.
Yeah.
Because it gets really sparse.
Because we're like, we have to get a real job.
Yeah, because you're not like out of that college age, and you're starting to like, oh, I'm really poor.
Right.
And so many people will give up their business or they'll give up everything for music.
Yeah.
Or like they'll just get burnt out because they're like, oh my god, I gave everything for all those years and it hasn't happened yet. I'm like, look, it's not, again, you're burning yourself out. It's just like you just gotta like get in a routine of it, and if it just becomes incorporated in your life, if you learn to love the business, if you learn to love the writing, it's no longer this mad race anymore.
Well, and I just went and saw New Found Glory like a week or two ago, and Chad like gave this speech about how like they shopped Not Without a Fight, or like they wanted to put out a record on Epitaph, and Epitaph like I think maybe their self-titled album, and Epitaph was like, no thanks. But then it was like their dream as a band to like put out a record with Epitaph, and they ended up putting out Not Without a Fight, like I don't know, like 6 years later or something.
Yeah.
And Chad just gave this speech that I was like paralleling with like weight loss and relationships and finances and all this stuff, but just saying like the faster you get to the end, the faster it ends. So like you need to learn how to enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's about. It's not about like a finish line.
Right, yeah, exactly. And so that's where I was seeing where you're like, oh, it's so ingrained in my life, like I can't even, but I'm like, yeah, it is you now. Like being like someone who's conscious about what they're putting in their body and working out and taking care of yourself, that's a part of you now.
Yeah.
And it will be, and it should be. Just like being a musician, it's just who I am.
Yeah.
Like, it's my identity.
Yeah.
And so I think when you have those kind of goals and those kind of ambitions, then it's not like this. If it doesn't work for a week, you give it up.
Forever.
You just keep going and you keep going.
Sometimes you want to though. For sure.
No, I get it. No, trust me. I absolutely identify with that.
Yeah.
Which one of the next points is what's kind of like the so obviously there's a major physical transformation. What was kind of like the mental or the emotional effects of doing that? I'm sure there had to be some kind of
I mean, I have like never hated myself. Like I know a lot of like massive weight loss stories usually start with like I looked in the mirror and I started crying, or like I broke a chair, or like something, and like there's fucking absolutely nothing wrong with whatever made you wanna start losing weight. Like,
yeah,
everyone has a different story. Mine's not like that. Mine was just like I always was super confident when I was 300 pounds and like wearing wiggle dresses and like boobs out and makeup and just like never really gave a shit. Like I always got like male attention like at every weight, you know? So I wasn't like, oh, maybe boys will like me now. Like that, you know, that wasn't part of it. It was funny though because like one of my girlfriends, she would always ask like if I wanted to go hiking and stuff, like when I was heavier, and I would just like I couldn't control myself. I just throw back my head and laugh. Like, you've got to be kidding me. You want me to go hiking? Like, you're insane. And she laughs now because like we go hiking sometimes, and she's like, I can't even keep up with you, and she probably weighs like 50 pounds less than I do now.
Oh wow.
But it's just so funny. She's like, remember when you used to like literally laugh anytime I suggested exercise? And I'm like, I do. But yeah, I mean, I honestly think like losing weight and getting healthy probably might have been easier if I was like super insecure and just like didn't like myself, because I feel like maybe that would have driven me sooner to do it.
I think that's actually really empowering to not be that way, because you know, obviously I was thinking, the stories that you always hear, people who are self-conscious, but, you know, in the end, what if you lose all the weight and you're still self-conscious, you know?
Well,
like,
and a ton of people are, because they lose weight and then, like, they have loose skin on their stomach or their arms or whatever, and it's like you're literally trading kind of, like, one problem for another, sort of. But, like, those are people that, I mean, I think everyone deals with that. Like, I mean, I've had plastic surgery since I lost weight. Like, I got a breast lift back in July, and, like, someday I'd like to get a tummy tuck just to remove, like, the excess skin that I literally cannot lose with, like, weight loss.
Yeah, it's no longer weight.
Or whatever. But if I can't or I don't, then, like, whatever, you know? I wouldn't trade... Like, a lot of people, I get a ton of DMs that are like, oh, I'm really worried about having loose skin. Like, what do you recommend? What should I do for this? And, like, I am not, like, a trainer, a nutritionist, a doctor. Like, I'm none of these things. I'm just like, this is what I did. Like, that might work for you. It might not. You can find something else that works better. I don't know. But this is just, like, what I did. So... take that as however you take it.
Yeah, I like that though.
But
so was your primary motivation then? Was it mainly a health-driven factor? Or
I mean,
it almost seems like it was out of boredom. It was almost like
it definitely started out of boredom, and then it was like, oh, this is really cool. Like, I can go up a flight of stairs and, like, not want to die. And, like, I feel like if you've been overweight your whole life, which I was, like, I was always the heaviest kid, like, in our family and stuff. There's things that you don't realize could be easier if you didn't weigh as much. Like, I remember laying down in bed and, like, going to just sit up, and that was hard. Like, I had to, like, sort of use my elbow to, like, and, like, sitting down on the toilet and just being like, ugh, you know, to, like, get up again, sitting on the floor to get up, riding in an airplane and worrying that the seatbelt wasn't going to click. Like, all these things, like sitting in a patio chair and hoping the legs, like, don't bow out. Like, you don't fucking think about that.
No.
If you've never been overweight, you know? And so, I think, like, one of the, like, biggest, things I realized was, like, maybe, like, a month or two ago, I hiked Squaw Peak, and then I came home, and I, like, jumped in the pool, and for the first time, probably since I was a kid, I was like, I'm gonna see if I can, like, pull myself out of the water by not going to the stairs. Because I wouldn't ever try, because I'm like, I weigh so much, there's no way I'm gonna be able to do it, and I could do it. Like, it was the first time I'd done it since, like, 14.
Oh, wow.
And I was just like, this is fucking nuts! Like, holy shit! Like, and it's so weird that, like, those little things are, like, what makes it worth it to me. Like, being able to do that. Oh my gosh,
that's so cool. Those little mini accomplishments.
Yeah. Well, it's like, people don't think about, like, people that can just do it without thinking about it. It's like, I could never do that, you know? Yeah,
just normal people things.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really crazy. So then at what point did you transition from that into the social media stuff that you do. For anyone who doesn't know, you're an active YouTuber, Instagram model, personality.
Not so much model.
I don't know.
That's like a softbox in my bedroom type of modeling.
Hey, that's better than most Instagram models I see out there. So.
So I had probably lost about 60 pounds, and then I was kind of looking for a way to continue to stay motivated. And like I've always felt that I like needed to report that I did something to someone or something. Yeah, like if I didn't take a picture at the gym, did I go? If I, don't take a picture of my food, am I eating something I shouldn't be? Like, kind of like as a diary. So instead of making like my personal Instagram all about that and like flooding like real life friends with that kind of stuff, I made a second Instagram and just started posting whatever. And like I honestly don't even really know how it kind of exploded, like because in 2 years I have like close to 75,000 followers, and I think
was it like an overnight thing? Was it kind of just came on as you were losing
it
the weight?
It was like comes in waves, like posting before and afters. I think is like the biggest thing. Like people see it on like their Discover page or whatever. Like I've had so many friends tell me that like one of their friends saw me on the Discover page, which I'm like, that's weird.
That's crazy.
Or like, my friend Hayden, he's like, yeah, my friend said she follows you on Instagram, and he's like, I know her in real life. And she's like, oh my god, no way. And I'm like, I'm a fucking regular person. Like, I'm not really producing content. Like, I'm not, I don't identify as a YouTuber. The only reason I started making YouTube videos is because either people were asking me the same fucking questions over and over, and I was like, I just want this to be housed in one place so I can like refer them there. And they were asking stuff that I couldn't like describe fully in like an Instagram comment.
Right, yeah, you can't message them back on something like that.
So that's how that started, and I mean, I've only been making YouTube videos for like a year probably. And 99% of them are like this, like me sitting talking to a camera. Yeah. And
hey, that works.
Yeah.
People like this, I think. I hope you guys are enjoying it.
Well, I don't know. Is anyone even watching this? My face feels so hot. Like, I don't know why. Yeah.
I don't have any of those giant lamps that you have. I got my girlfriend's makeup lamp.
What's in this sparkling cider?
That is awesome, though. I like your story. So how did you handle like the newfound attention? Like, dude, was it mainly positive? Like,
okay, so the biggest source of negative attention, I suppose, is when I was heavier. I had a Tumblr blog that was like a plus size fashion thing where I would like try to teach women how to dress, how to like accentuate their features or whatever, and like you can still be fashionable as a heavy woman.
Well, and you were always a confident person too.
Like so I was like, you can do this, and like I used to get tons of messages on that were like, you've shown me that like I can wear this skirt or like a crop top, and like, oh my gosh, like thank you so much. And I would just be like, that's why I'm doing this.
Oh
like,
no, I feel like I know where this is about to go though.
So I probably had like 20,000 people following that blog. Wow. At like the height or whatever.
Dang.
And then I started losing weight and still using like the same hashtags in my like plus size, whatever. But then it's like the community decided I wasn't plus size enough to identify as plus size.
Oh my god.
And that I must hate myself and all those people if I'm losing weight. Like I must hate myself because why would I want to be healthier? You know what I mean? Like on my own.
That's terrible and totally not. Like, I could see people coming in, like, just mean people and trolls coming in, making fun of, like, you know,
no, but this was such a supportive group of women.
People who are about acceptance, who are then...
But they're only about it if you're one of them.
If they applies to their own standards.
That's where this whole, like, body positivity, like, I take a lot of issue with that because it's somehow owned by, like, the plus-size community, like, this body positivity.
Yeah.
Like, it's not... They don't care... Like, I feel like right now I'm at, like, this weird in-between stage. Like, I'm not a thin, fit person, but
Right.
I'm also not like where I used to be, and I'm like in this weird gray area where I don't really fit into any
To either
niche.
their boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's been like kind of challenging because I'm like, guys, like I still
Yeah, which community
like,
am I?
and I'm built like hourglassy, so I'm like
Yeah.
I can still, you know, like I have a big bust and a big butt, and like I can still do this, but it was super like cold shoulder. We're not supportive of you anymore.
Wow,
and
that's harsh.
Yeah.
I would not expect that.
I actually made a YouTube video probably about a year ago that's called like Body Positive Mean Girls. That is just about like those types of girls.
You know, and what's really crazy about what happened to our culture within the last year or two was and I don't want to get too political with it, was there was like this hyper liberalism movement that, you know, I was very much on board with. There was a lot of like obviously like gay marriage and all that was accepted, and that was all like a super positive thing. And then like there's a big trans movement, and that was always a positive thing. But then it started getting like very aggressive.
Yeah.
The movements did, and then it became this weird switch. Obviously, like when Trump and his supporters, who are as unpolitically correct as it can get, come and like now it's like mainstream, and now like all these people who secretly were against those ideologies are now out of the woodwork and feel like they're protected because of what we have leading our country. It has created this like countercultural, like I don't even like anti-liberalism or anti-acceptance. And so it's back to this like bullying and trolling. But at the same time, like I understand their initial outrage because it did turn a little negative, like body positivity. Like it was no longer about being accepting or about being healthy. It was about praising being unhealthy. Yeah. And like that's not a good mindset. And so I can understand where wanting to attack that mindset comes from.
But that's also, I just want to touch on that one point, is that a lot of people think health and weight are synonymous. And like I am so super against that. Like is someone that weighs 110 pounds healthier than me, who's drinking every night and smoking and eating cheeseburgers, but because they weigh 110 pounds, society automatically assumes that I'm unhealthy, who goes to the gym 5 days a week, and that person is healthier than me. And like I have a huge issue with that. Like obviously there's like weight related medical issues, but by the grace of whatever, even at 300 pounds, I had normal cholesterol, normal blood sugar, normal everything, but was considered unhealthy and still probably am by like society standards.
I think it's more of a tangible thing. I think it was more of like we can physically see the unhealthiness, whereas someone who's like some skinny person chugging down McDonald's, we didn't see. But same with like smokers. We can see a smoker, and there's a lot of shame on cigarette smokers. Yeah. And I mean, it's starting to become less now, but it used to be really, really heavily condoned. You see a cigarette smoker, like, get out of my entire vicinity. Like, don't be anywhere because you're so unhealthy.
Well, now
and you're killing yourself.
Now,
which is maybe a blessing in disguise, or maybe not. Yeah, is it?
Is it?
Well, all my high school buddies, they own a vape shop. Like,
really?
several vape shops. So they got into business early, so they're making bank. I was like, these are idiots. Like, I'm just never gonna catch on in college. I was like, okay, now you're rich. Like,
I take it back.
My college dropout, but no, they're killing it. Sometimes smarter and more.
That's always how it happens, though. Like you just have one good idea, and you can be like the dumbest.
I hope to get on this podcast. Yeah, my best friends from high school. You know, I was like, I was the one getting this like really hard degree. Like, oh, I'm gonna make all this money. Yeah. And like, they're the business entrepreneurs making way more money. I'm like, god damn. Like.
Fuck college. You don't need an education. I'm paying
honestly, student loans.
You're gonna be paying that off while they're just like
making it rain in Vegas.
Yeah,
that's the truth.
Jeez.
No, okay. Sorry to get off track there, but okay. So there wasn't.
But that was really the only negative. Okay. Like, aside from, a lot of people don't think, like, if I post a before and after, they'll be like, that's not the same girl.
Really?
Like, she has different tattoos, or like. Whatever.
It's a conspiracy theorist.
First off, one is a mirror image, so just flip it and it's fucking the same. 2,
oh my gosh,
I've gotten more tattoos, you know, in the last couple of years or whatever.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, they'll be like photoshopped or like whatever. It's like, why did I fucking want to pretend to weigh 300 pounds like that for like some fake validation on the internet? Like that makes no sense.
I can see where those pictures, because I had no idea, because I met you when you were already at kind of the weight you were, and so I just remember being, me and my girlfriend, all of a sudden, I think we saw it was either your YouTube video that you had posted or something like that, and we had no idea.
Yeah.
And it really rocked our world. It really is like a whole nother person.
Right.
Like,
well, it's like, I feel like I looked so much older, because I had so much more, like, fat on my face and my eyes were, like, smaller looking and stuff. But, yeah, I was that person for so long that it's, like, I'm still trying to figure out what this person is, you know?
Yeah.
But...
That's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I mostly get, like, it's all mostly positive. Like, I get tons of messages that are just, like, a lot of ones where people asking for advice or help, and I get some that are just really sad. Like, a while ago I got a message from someone that was like, you know, I've never been able to lose weight and I'm afraid my husband's gonna leave me, and really sort of sad, and like this is definitely not the same thing, but I liken it to like when people like tweet celebrities and are like, I'm gonna cut myself if you don't respond, or like some kind of, you know what I mean, like some kind of like putting guilt on them to give them attention type thing. And it's like, I don't know how to, I'm a regular person, like I don't know how to handle stuff like that, and it's like I don't want to not respond, but I also like don't know what to say. Like, hang in there, buddy. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I've definitely been put in similar positions.
Yeah.
A lot.
Like, I'm so depressed. Please just tweet me back, and I'll feel so much better about myself. Or whatever. And it's like,
you just need to, like,
do you give into that? Because they're doing exactly, like, you're going to be doing exactly what they want. It's like the people that say negative things hoping to get a reaction.
Yeah, no, it's like really delicate.
Yeah.
That really is like a balance, or like, so I've always had to figure out where to draw the line between like how close and how much of a friend do I become to someone who's like really involved with our music and things like that. And honestly, it's just like a matter of time. I'll just eventually just become really good friends with people who come out to my shows. Just hang out with them every weekend.
And catch up.
And it just happens. But I definitely had like, I used to work for like a youth ministry, and so I've like always had this like fatherly mentality to the people coming out to my shows. So I've always just been older and kind of like a mentor-y type figure. And no, I've had to deal with a lot of, it's usually not attention grabbing. It usually is like a legitimate, like, I don't know how to handle, like, you know, like a first high school breakup or something.
Yeah.
You know, those kids are devastated. They're always devastated after their first breakup. And so you just, you know, you gotta find a way to navigate that. But at the same time, you don't want them. So then occasionally you'll get, like, for me, I've had, like, girls especially, then will start getting, like, attached or something. Like, look, this isn't about that. And so you gotta, like, steer the conversations in ways that...
That's what it is with dudes, man. Like, it's like, oh, you did so good. And I'm like, thanks. And then it's like, so do you have a boyfriend?
Yeah, and it like slowly starts going down that rabbit hole.
Don't make me, like, just being friendly turn into something fucking weird. Like...
Doing it, so you deny being a model, but you do basic Instagram type modeling. Do you get a lot of like weird, creepy PMs, or what's the harassment situation like?
I mean, I probably get. Thankfully, the dick pics has slowed. I'm in a dick pic drought. Thankfully,
the dick pic
right
drought.
now,
oh God, you should have admitted that.
The dick pic drought of 2017. It's so funny too. Because I'll have guys, like, offer to pay me money for stuff that I find really weird. For example...
Yeah, I'm curious.
I was offered $300 for one of my sweaty gym t-shirts, but it, like, had to smell like me.
$300?
Yeah.
Did you do it?
No!
What?
I know! That's what everyone said.
That's more than I made off my CDs.
I was like, I like this shirt, and I don't want to give it away. And he, like, wanted pictures of me wearing it before I sent it, and I was like, just pull a picture
couldn't
and
have,
it off
cheated.
Instagram,
Yeah.
something more public or whatever. But my favorite, and I hope this person isn't watching, because
we're not using any names.
How many people are watching this right now?
Well, it's not the number when it's live, but
this.
it usually comes. There's a lot that watch after. But.
A guy offered me money for a picture of my armpit, an up close.
People are weird,
picture of my
man.
armpit, and I made the mistake of trying to figure out how you can sexualize an armpit, because there's what else would you use? There's got to be some kind of.
That's the oddest body part to sexualize.
I know, but I thought it was so fucking funny. I was like, this is not real.
Do you put a smiley face in there?
So I did it.
You should have drawn a cartoon in there.
Literally, I sent 2 pictures and got $100.
Whoa.
Yeah, and you can't tell it's me. Because it's I made sure there was no tattoos.
Dude, it's not even a sexual part of the body,
exactly.
in my opinion.
It's if you guys want armpits all day, I will. You just message me. I will hook you up 2 for 1.
No, wait. No, hit me up. I want to
We're going to start an armpit for pay business right here.
Make more of armpit pictures.
Just check out the live stream. This is turned into Wine Wednesday After Dark, armpit edition.
Oh, hey, you found a way to make some money off it.
But the thing that made it even weirder was that after I did that, he was like, "Well, can you send me more? I'll pay you more, but can you send me more in a week when you have some hair regrowth?"
Oh my god,
and
that's disgusting. That's so gross.
And that same person is offered they want topless pictures and all kinds. And I'm just
I mean, that makes a little more sense.
Yeah.
But.
I don't have great feet, but if you want feet, I will give you feet. If you want a fucking elbow,
give you an elbow.
Just let me know.
Yeah, man.
I got you.
People are into some stuff.
Yeah. But most of it's just dudes being creepy.
But the weird, I never understood. Okay, I also don't get creepy dudes. I need to meet. I wonder if I have friends that are creepy and you just don't know. 900%
have dudes that are creepy. All of it, I do not want to start talking about this, but all of the Me Too stuff that's coming out, it's every dude, whether consciously or subconsciously, has done something fucking creepy at some point in their lives.
Trust me, when the Me Too stuff came out, I was immediately flipping through my brain. I'm I feel
yeah.
I mean, I'm sure, I know when I was probably in high school or younger, I definitely did something perverse, stupid.
Yeah.
But obviously, I know I've never done anything violent or anything like that.
I've been coerced into things that I didn't want to do at the time, but I know I made the conscious decision to do them. I was never in fear for my life or anything like that.
I've never had any sketchy hookups or anything like that, and so I've never been worried in that regard. We actually have an article coming out, ASU.
I feel I have to tell you my first Tinder date story ever.
Oh, please.
But finish you have an article coming out.
A little promo. Well, ASU hit me up to talk about sexual assault in the music industry.
Okay.
I don't know why they came for me for questions.
Let's go to the number one.
I was
reporter on this.
I don't know why I'm
Weird.
I know I made a couple posts or something about it.
Yeah.
And I was really, really devastated when the Jesse Lacey stuff came out. He's my number one hero. But ASU contacted me and I was like, yeah, actually, I do want to talk about this.
Yeah.
I feel like this is something that's really important right now. He asked these really great questions, really sharp, really to the point.
Yeah.
And I try my best to give real legitimate solutions to the problem, and I try to at least explain the psychology of why there's these weird social power dynamics in place that causes this, and why musicians feel the entitlement and so I tried my best to explain how the environment is and what we can do to change the environment, and both by I don't want to give it all away because there's a great article coming out about it. And I can't do it justice now because I sat down and really put my best into it. But just talking about the environment and creating a better environment for both victims to come out and talk about these things, as well as holding more musicians accountable, because so many of us will have friends that you hear a story.
This is...
And you just don't get involved.
This is what makes me so mad, because there are some people I know that have been...
It's good, it's still going. It's just like a notice.
That have, like, very publicly denounced, like, sexual predators or whatever. Like, it's almost like they make it their identity to be like, if anyone comes out and, like, has a story, like, we'll blacklist that person, whatever. Like, they'll be out from the scene. But I know that they have knowledge of someone that they work with. Like a colleague or something in the music scene who is creepy and sketchy. But they're like, oh, but, like, they're a video director. Or, like, they do our press photos or whatever. Like, it's like, just, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, don't, if you are going to do that, don't go on this tirade about, like, how everyone should be outed, and if you see something, say something, when you're not fucking doing it.
Well, I talk about that
because it's benefiting you.
Yeah, no, because, I mean, so much of it, and I explained in the article, too, I was like, I've definitely heard grapevine stories of people, but I told a story, and it's going to be in the article, how there was only one time that through the grapevine was someone that I personally knew and interacted with on a regular basis, and so I actually went and I approached them, and the people who had, like, told me through grapevine, like, no, don't do it, it's not worth it, just drop it, he's, like, good guy, it's really not that big of a deal, and I was like, no, and so I, like, went to him, and I was like, hey, man, like, you need to stop seeing this girl. It was, like, an underage fan, and... You know, in their head, the thing is, in their head, they're not doing anything wrong. Like, oh, you know, she's mature for her age, or she'll be 18 in like a year.
Oh my God!
Or like, you know, we're like, she's, you know, those are the excuses they make. And I'm like, and I just told him, I was like, I'm gonna tell her parents. And I was like, and I don't know this girl that well, but I know her well enough that I can contact her parents, and then we'll go from there. And he's like, all right, like I'm not gonna see her, blah blah. And you know, I didn't really. Go to her parents, and that's what I talk about in the article. I know they stopped seeing each other after that, and he got mad at me, she got mad at me, and my friends who told me about him got mad at me. So like literally, there's like this little small backlash. It was enough of a repercussion that I knew my own like business of the band wasn't going to get affected because like, whatever, you're not going to hurt me. But there's definitely like other people like that you don't want to mess with, or like again, it's so through the grapevine that you're like, well, if I try and go through these channels. And so that's why, like, one of the things I suggest is, like, if it's someone that is, like, you know, or is, like, on your level, or anything even, like, remotely, like, that you have a relationship with, like, try and talk to that person. And so one of the things I actually am not, I don't like, I'm a big believer in, like, innocent until proven guilty. So, like, I love the Me Too movement, and I love the empowerment. But I'm a little sketched out with just the witch hunt of like just putting a name out there and then everyone going after this one person and being like, wait, what if we don't actually know if this story is true or not. We're just we're just so into the gossip of it. And right now most of it is true and that's fine, but I'm just worried about like the downward slope. Dude,
I honestly think at this point, like it's like every single day it's like, oh, another one of your faves is problematic. Like, shocker. Like, it's not even, it's unfortunate that it's not even remotely surprising anymore.
I know, and again, the Jesse Lacey one really hurt me, because I was like, maybe it's not true, but then, like, a couple other people, and the girl's, like, spamming the messages, and then, like, Jesse Lacey comes out and gives, like, the worst apology letter ever.
Well, and the with confidence stuff, I don't know if you saw that, but, like, that was super sketch, and then Jaden, the singer, kind of tweets this stuff, like, condemning him, and they're like, oh, we kicked him out, but then accusations came up against him, so it's like...
Right? Like, oh, yeah,
it's like, oh, I just hope no one says shit about me, like, you know what I mean? And, like, yeah, I definitely get the, like, anyone can say anything, and it will kind of fuck you whether it's true or not. Like, like, Steve Klein from New Found Glory, like, that ended up... Like, he got kicked out of his band for stuff that ended up not being true. And, you know.
So, and again, my solution, God, you guys have to read the articles. I'll never be able to articulate as I do when I actually have a sat-down thought of it. But, I want victims to feel comfortable to speak about it. But I don't think the first reaction needs to be, let's tell social media in the world. I think it needs, let's go to someone I trust, whether that's your parents. Some of them might be too ashamed to go to their parents. That's okay. Well, maybe you should go to an authority figure. Okay, maybe that's too much for you. Maybe you need to go to a friend, or maybe you need to go to someone who's responsible enough to walk you through the steps of what needs to be done to prosecute that person. But ultimately, like, we do need to encourage an environment where we're going to allow our friends to talk and not be ashamed of talking.
Yeah.
Because we need them to persecute those people before they commit more crime.
But you also have to keep in mind, we're older.
Yeah.
And, like, a lot of this stuff is happening to kids much younger than us who lack the, you know, social skills and intelligence to approach things from that point of view, and their only medium for communicating with like-minded people is stuff like Twitter. And they're like, well, I'm afraid that kids in my school will find out, so I'm going to post it here where I can get support from strangers who don't actually know me, but can provide some support, you know?
Yeah, and it is, I think really the education needs to be, one, I think on the younger people, especially for like the victim stuff, because it's usually younger, especially women, younger women are often the victims of this.
Yeah.
And it's up to the older generation, the musicians and stuff like that, to be the ones who are holding their friends accountable.
Yeah.
Making sure they're not doing sketchy things.
Well, it's like dudes too. Like, I feel like anytime, like, a guy is a victim, they're met with, like, oh, you should be so lucky, or whatever. Like, there's no, like, they don't get the kind of respect and support that they need either, because people are like, oh, you should be so happy, like a mom wanted to have sex with you or something, you know what I mean?
It's so true. And I have so many guy friends too that have had like tons of sexual advances made on them that they're like, this isn't what I want. The girls are aggressive. And
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to say like 50-50, but that happens way more often than it doesn't.
Yeah,
you know?
I definitely think, well, for men, I think it's definitely something that's not spoken about because it's like a stigma.
Yeah,
and
100%.
Yeah. So it really is a cultural issue.
Yeah.
And I don't think there'll ever be a final cure or anything like that, but I think bringing it to light now, and finding proper methods to solving the issue is where we need to go from here. Because now the issue, like, we've all known it was there. It was always this unspoken piece.
What do we do now?
And then unanimously we agree as a society, we're no longer going to take it anymore. We're going to all address this issue.
Yeah.
And now it's time for us, okay, now we've addressed we have this problem. How do we go from there?
Right.
What steps can we take? And so...
Well, I mean, you can even break it down. This is getting, like, way too granular. But it's, like, even just, like, traditional gender roles, like, when you're a child. Like, oh, he's throwing rocks at you because he likes you or whatever. Like, you know, it's like it all just kind of builds on each other, you know?
Yeah.
We're getting deep, dude.
This is what we do
We're
for,
fucking
man.
sober as shit. And, like, we're like, let's talk about politics and,
Dude, if I was drunk, this would have gotten 10 times deeper, I assure you. I would have gotten really passionate about this subject. I have a lot to say about this topic. The other thing that's hard about talking about this subject, and I don't, again, be like, woe is me, is being like a guy that is trying to talk about it, especially when I don't really think I'm a victim necessarily. Yeah. I'm always scared, of course, of like, is he hiding something? Is he white knighting? Or is he trying to ride and off of this wave of some popular thing?
Yeah.
And like, I sincerely just want to be like, no, I think this is a really big issue that needs some legitimate, intelligent people talking about it and trying to come up with solutions.
I think there's a fine line between like kind of doing the right thing as a person versus like using something like a band to capitalize on it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like when like Laura Jane Grace did her thing. It was her thing. It was not, the band was totally separate, you know?
Yeah.
But like, when Buddy from Census Fail was like, yeah, I've sucked some dicks in my life, he made like all of Census Fail's social media about like politicizing sex and like all this stuff. And it's like, dude, good for you. Like, rad. Like, you're sort of preaching to a group of people that are already really progressive and supportive of you.
It's pandering.
Yeah.
It's pandering.
And I follow Census Fail because I like your music and I want to know when you're playing a show. I don't need to see 9,000 Huffington Post articles about, like, same-sex marriage and whatever, because, like, I'm already on board with all of that shit.
Yeah,
you know?
No, I agree. And that's also why, like, I also try not to make the band hyper-political or, like, try and jump on waves for that exact reason.
Yeah.
Because, like, I find our art to or at least a big reason for art is escapism and things like that.
Yeah.
And we have so much source for news and opinions. Like,
exactly.
Like, what am I going to be able to tell you or teach you that you're not already hearing? Like, maybe you want to hear my opinion because you respect my art, but, like, I assure you there are smarter, better people.
And most people don't give a shit about your opinion. They just want to argue with you. Like, it's like, I feel like it's like relatives on Facebook.
Right.
Like,
and then you
maybe
open
are
yourself
super conservative and they don't actually want to have a productive conversation about something. They just want to be right, and you're not going to change their mind. So it's kind of like, why even go down that road?
Exactly. So then it becomes two things. Either you're just pandering to your own fan base simply to, like, you know,
I'm so cool and progressive and liberal and, like,
exactly.
We know.
Or you're opening yourself up to, like, massive trolls, and you're, like, now going to try and be this martyr for some cause.
Exactly.
And so there really is no benefit, unless you're like some punk band who is willing to be a martyr or a pander. As like a pop artist or indie artist, like, you really don't have much. It really sucks because I think music and art, you know, people like Bob Dylan and stuff like that, I think we're always, you know, progressive in pushing the boundaries of art and politics, but I just don't think in today's age of 24/7 news, I just don't see a place for it anymore.
Well, and I'm not saying, like, that as an artist you don't have any right to, like, speak out for what you believe in, but I'm like, don't make your entire identity as an artist unless that's all you really plan to do. But it's like, let me know when you're playing a show somewhere in between these 8,000 articles about whatever, you know?
Yeah. No, okay, so yeah, and so then the right way to go about it is, like I said, this is a big important issue that I don't want this topic to just be, like, thrown by the wayside, you know? Like, so I'm really happy that AC came to me with this article. Oh, and crazy thing, actually, it was supposed to be posted this last week. The journalist said, the topic's too hot, so I have to post it on my blog now. So yeah, AC dropped in, and they had approached, like, a bunch of other bands, and all the other bands bailed. Or, like, they gave too vague of answers. Yeah. And I think it's even when I was writing it,
it's scary to take a stand on something.
Because I was like, and I told him this too, I was like, the reason bands aren't going to want to take a stand is, like, either they're going to come off, like, I'm afraid I'm going to either look like a white knight, or I'm going to look like I'm hiding something. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what? Or I'm just going to look, or like I'm going to look like I'm trying to ride the wave of popular. I was like, there's literally nothing good of me trying to stick my neck out. And I was like, but honestly, like, I just don't care, like, what people think. I'm just going to just do this and put it under my name, and obviously the band will be there behind me. Yeah. And I'll stand by the words that I say, and I'll expand on them at least if anyone will ask me them. But, yeah, I can understand. He's like, yeah, we approached, because they wanted at least a minimum of 2 bands talking about the music scene, and they said they approached, like, 5 or 6 bands, they all declined. And I'm not trying to, like, again, act cool or anything. It's just I understand. I told them I understood. But, all right, we'll get off that topic.
Yeah, sorry, I don't even know how we ended up there, but
it's a heavy one.
We got there.
But just real quick before we start wrapping things up, how did you get in the music scene? Like, what?
Okay.
So I know we talked about you doing the DJ stuff, and you clearly know your shit. So
okay, so I was brought up in a household that listened to, like, radio pop. Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, Shania Twain was, like, my dad's favorite. Like, that was the only thing I was
exposed to. Man, I feel like a woman.
I mean, I think I like Shania Twain for different reasons, but, like, whatever. So, and I mean, maybe some stuff like Robert Palmer and, like, Bruce Springsteen and, like, that kind of stuff, but all pop.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, I don't remember why, but I had a New Found Glory t-shirt.
Okay.
So I must have heard, like, Hit or Miss or something. So I bought a New Found Glory t-shirt from Hot Topic. But I was still just kind of listening to, like, radio pop. And then Authority Zero was playing the New Year's Eve block party, like the Tempe block party or whatever. Yeah. And I didn't know who they were.
They're from here.
They're from Mesa. So I went to the block party with, like, some friends when I was in high school. And 2 of them were like, oh, we really need to, like, go check out this band or whatever. I was like, whatever, like, sure. Yeah. So we went and watched them, and I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, there's mosh pits and crowd surfers, and, like, it's fast, but it's also, there is, like, a degree of pop to it, you know?
Yeah. Whoa, Mexican.
I mean, that's a cover, but...
Yeah, it is. It's like the only song I know.
You would know more if you heard them, I promise.
No, I know some Rent Authority Zero.
But, so, I saw that and I was like, what the fuck, this is so good. I didn't even know, like, stuff like this really existed. So that was, like, obviously on New Year's Eve. And then I found out they were playing, and it's so funny that I remember these specifics, but January 26th, so, like, 3 weeks later.
Day after my birthday.
At the Bash on Ash. So I went to that, and they played with, like, Victim 26, No Gimmick, like, all these, like, local punk bands.
Yeah.
And so I got into, like, those bands at that show.
You got on the really punk side of the scene.
I did. Like, I started out listening to, like, Bad Religion and Pennywise and, like, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then, like, sort of
and
fell into, like, Newfound Glory. And, yeah, like, that's where it started. And it's, like, it's so funny because at the time in high school, I played golf in high school. And I had, like, horribly dyed, like, blonde hair. Like, my mom was, like, not a girl's girl at all. So, like, I'm pretty sure I, like, shaved between my eyebrows so I would have 2 instead of 1. And, like, wore khaki shorts and shirts from Aeropostale. Like, that was, like, my high school thing. And I feel like I tried so fucking hard to be cool.
Yeah.
And I was really smart. So, like, all of the cool kids would, like, want to copy me and I'd let them because I'd be like, oh, they're going to like me if, like, whatever. But I wasn't, like, I didn't have very many friends in high school. And then I sort of, like, discovered the local punk scene.
Yeah.
Cut off all my hair. My uniform sort of changed to, like, band t-shirts, Dickies, and, like, skate shoes. And that was, like, the second semester of my senior year. And all of a sudden, I was, like, super fucking popular. Like, and I didn't really change anything other than stop caring what people thought so much.
Well, you ironically put yourself in a different box.
Yeah. Well, because I didn't hang out with people from high school. I started hanging out with all these people I was meeting at shows.
Oh, okay.
And so my friends were, like, these creative music people.
Right. Generally,
and I identified with
crowd.
that.
Yeah.
Then with these, like, let's go to parties and get drunk and, like, that whole thing. So, yeah, it was, I pretty much looked like a dude until I was, like, 23. Like, people would make a really big deal if I, like, wore a skirt. They'd be like, oh my god.
Really?
You're wearing a skirt? Like, whatever. And it's so funny to me because people now will, like, be like, oh, like, can you do, like, a makeup tutorial? I'm like, I don't fucking know what I'm doing. Like, I literally don't.
Really?
Like, I'm just like, oh, this is a little bit of this. Like, you know? Like, no one taught me how to do anything.
Wow.
But yeah, that's how I, like, fell into, like, there used to be this thing called Ska Punk Night at the Buzz. When the Edge was still, like, a radio station.
Yeah.
And so they'd have 3 punk bands play every Thursday night for, like, $5. So I'd go to that all the time, and...
How did you, because now, we met as emo night DJs.
Yeah.
So how did you know Steve and get plugged into that?
So I met Steve when I was, like, 18.
Really?
And I think...
Yeah, he probably was first starting.
Yeah. Do you know Tim Kirch?
Yeah, 8123.
Yeah. So... Tim Kirch was like a little nugget baby back in the day, and there was this band Goodbye Tomorrow.
Oh gosh, I love Goodbye Tomorrow.
Okay, I got Matt a job at my job, and he like never showed up. And, like,
he was
essentially fired himself.
He was like a hobo. Yeah, Matt Gilbert was a crazy person.
I feel like it was his goal to. I mean, he's doing real well now, I guess.
He's out in like Seattle or something.
Yeah, or Portland or something.
Okay.
But I don't remember the first time I met, like, Steve and Tim and all those guys, but...
That band was so stacked, man.
Yeah. But Goodbye Tomorrow played at, like, a church in the West Valley or something. And
I was at that show.
And Steve was there, and I remember specifically, like, Steve and Tim, and, like, that's when Tim Harmon was still around.
Oh, yeah.
And doing shows and stuff.
Damn right.
So I've just known Steve from, like, going to shows.
Just going to shows. Yeah, that's pretty much how I know him too.
Yeah.
I was just like a kid going to shows, and eventually got a band together, and he gave me my breaks.
I think it's so cool. Like, I went to shows at the Mason Jar. I saw Greeley Estates in the Mason Jar before it became Rebel Lounge.
Hell yeah.
And I just like would go to multiple shows a night. Like, oh, I'm gonna see this band, and then go see another band.
Yeah.
I'd, like, lie to my parents because I had a curfew, so I'd tell them I had to babysit, and I would, like, sleep in my car and stuff so I could go to shows.
Wow,
like,
that's nuts. Yeah, my parents were super hesitant when I first go to shows. They thought I was all like drugs and stuff.
Yes!
And I was like,
my parents
no.
are like, both guys only want one thing. Like, musicians only want one thing. I'm like, it's not 1970. Like, first
that's what
of
I tell
all,
my dad. I'm like, you know how hard it is to be a musician, let alone a musician on heroin?
Yeah.
I was like, I'm sober as a bird.
Expensive, dude. Like, who's got time for
I'm
that?
like college educated. I can't figure this shit out. I don't know how to become famous, let alone be a drug addict on the side.
It's funny though because I still think like there's some. I think my parents still have like some assumptions. Like I'm the only person in my family with tattoos that like color their hair is into music. Like,
are they still paranoid that you're gonna get heavily involved in?
I think they just don't get it, and I think at this point they're like, "Fuck it, like we can't do anything about it." But yeah, they definitely don't understand like music.
That's a hard thing to explain to them.
Right. Well, and that's the thing.
And
like,
because they did grow up in a different world.
And I've never like I played piano when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I haven't really retained anything other than like heart and soul. I tried playing bass in college. I could only play like one MXPX song. So I haven't really like contributed to the music scene like in that way. No, I've just like been a supporter for so long.
It's interesting because the scene has these personalities and these people that really help progress the culture in other ways. So what are some outside Arizona bands? What are some of the best unknown outside Arizona bands that are up and coming?
Grayscale,
which I caught the other night.
They're from Philadelphia. Yeah, they are so good, and I keep yelling about them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They didn't have their singer that night either. Their guitarist.
No, he had the flu. He was sitting at merch. Grayscale is like one of my absolute favorites. There's a band called The Millennium from Wisconsin.
I haven't heard of them.
That's also I think you'd actually really dig them. They're really good. Actually flew to Wisconsin because I'd never seen them before last year. And I've been friends with Matt, the singer, for like a year or two.
Are they doing? Do they do pretty good tours or?
Mainly Midwest and like East Coast, but like they've played with the Somerset and the Maine and like these kinds of bands over there. But they played Nom like 2 years ago, but that's the only West Coast thing they've done.
Right? Yeah, I know it's hard getting out.
But I really like them. But then State Champs and Newfound Glory are my two favorite bands. Like,
yeah, you and I were both at that State Champs show. Yeah. That was a dope one at Press Room.
Dude, that whole show was so good.
Don Bronco played that night.
Yeah. Against the Current, who you were like super about.
Oh my god, I could not. She blew my mind.
Yeah. She just did. I'm not gonna remember this. I just saw a tweet where she like collaborated with someone like super big and famous.
Oh, did they?
So she did.
Okay.
But yeah,
they were on a whole nother level. I think their performance was. Don Bronco is probably the best musicians I've ever seen on a stage in a long time.
Yeah.
It was like watching a prog rock band almost.
Yeah.
With like a pop influence. But they were definitely one of like the tightest, most epic, like best performing shows. Obviously, State Champs had the energy in the crowd in their favor, but Against the Current, I thought actually put on a better set in my mind.
Yeah.
But I definitely gotta get more into them.
Something As It Is really underrated as well.
They spent the night at my house once. I
really?
can tell you that story.
They're like the nicest dudes on
They're all from like Britain. They're like
I
basically asked them point blank how they got famous and like
Patty's YouTube. Essentially.
Yeah, he's like a great videographer. They were like Friends of the Neck Deep guys.
Yeah.
And then it just one thing led to the other. But yeah, his YouTube channel is awesome.
He did a cover of a One Direction song that I actually prefer to the One Direction song.
Really?
Yeah, he covered like Story of My Life or something.
That's
and it's like a pop punk version, and it's so fucking good.
That's how a lot of those punk goes pop things go.
Yeah. Oh my god, have you heard Grayscale covered Justin Bieber on the newest one? And it's so fucking good. Like, I don't even like Justin Bieber, but I'm just like, fuck, like this is so good.
This is awesome that Grayscale is doing it.
Yes.
That's hilarious. Before we get to the questions and comments, if anyone's still watching, definitely leave some questions and comments. Give us some promo.
My main form of social media, I suppose, is my Instagram, which is @Neversometimes_losing it. It's my biggest one that I'm most active on. YouTube channel, same name.
@Neversometimes_losing it.
Yes. Which is funny because never sometimes losing it makes sense in like a weight loss.
Never sometimes.
Like, I'm never sometimes losing the weight, right? But never sometimes is just a Newfound Glory song, and like that was like my go-to social
That's
media.
What I was wondering where the tag came.
That's like one of my favorite Newfound Glory songs. So
good. Well, I'm glad he's not guilty of anything because the fact that Jesse Lacey's guilty of stuff like ruins so many things for me.
If the day comes where like Ryan from State Champs, who's like one of my favorite humans on earth, or Chad from Newfound Glory are problematic, I will cry forever.
Oh, dude, when Chad and Haley broke up this year, I almost cried.
No, that's the happiest I've ever been in my whole life. Like, everyone's like, oh, my wife is available, and I'm like, Chad! He was my first crush in life since I was like 14.
Their relationship's been together for so long. I can't believe they actually broke up.
So happy.
I'm pretty sure she liked him way before she was famous. And was like, when I'm famous.
Yeah, maybe.
She totally went for it.
Do we have any questions?
Let's see. Hey, guys.
Holy.
You got some in here for sure. Crystal Crandall says, cheers to both of you. Cheers. We're sober tonight. Kimberly Garcidonas. Thank you for doing this, and thanks for being an inspiration.
Aw, maybe she's talking about you.
I think she's talking about you. Oh, any questions? Mitchell. Get bulk hold for count or 10 a movement like push-ups and half down, then just before all the way down, stop, and then 10 times repeat. Oh, he's giving us some advice.
What?
To get bulk, hold for count.
Oh, to get bulk?
Yeah, or 10 movement.
You can do that.
That's what I need. I think he probably is talking to me. He was like, Derek, you're skinny as hell.
He's like, here's some advice.
Okay, I do push-ups and sit-ups.
You'd be like, let me screenshot that for later.
Also a great stretch reliever and recover from soreness. Just tense up stomach, hand, arm, whatever's bothering you, and hold for 10 seconds. Breathe out and tense up for 3 times that.
Tense up.
All right, no questions?
Sick.
All right, well, guys, this video will be floating around the Facebook Another Region thing for another week or so. So if you got any comments or questions later on in the week, just leave them, and I'll at you or something, or I'll send her a message and answer it for you.
Perf.
All right.
Thanks, dude.
You good?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for coming
out.
out.
Like dehydrated. I'm like, damn, we like wouldn't shut the fuck up.
I know.
Just like we thought.
We did it completely sober this time too. Yeah. So hope you guys enjoyed.
This is just part 1. This is of anthology.
We really could go forever. I get yelled at if I go too long though. So all right.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye y'all.